Live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night, April 9th. Real America's Voice. And across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. It's live from Studio 6B. Glad you're in on a Wednesday, everybody. Slick Rick's going to have some sports. Rick Delgado's here. He's going to have some news. Paul Nolan in the house. He's going to have some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Slick Rick's a little late, coming from a big meeting, so he'll be here in a little bit to do some sports. Mr. Delgado, how are you?
I am good.
How was your day?
Not as good as you'd like it to be because
Why?
I'm still walking around with a cardboard box for my new laptop.
I say to Delgado, he got this new laptop, and he walks in every day with the box that it came in,
Right.
like under his arm, like this.
Yeah.
And I said, "When's your birthday, Delgado?" He says, "Not till December." I said, "Well, Christmas isn't until December." And he looks at me and says, "Why?" I said, "Well, because I'm just looking for any excuse when I can buy you a computer bag."
I don't need you to buy me. I've looked. I went to the store yesterday. I looked. I didn't find one I liked, so I moved on. Today I forgot to do it, so I didn't get
you
one.
Kim Kardashian? Just
No,
pick a bag and move on. What are you even doing?
Exactly.
I want
Black
to make
bag
sure,
with handles. Done.
I want to make sure I like the bag, and then if I see it and I'm like, "Ooh, you know what? This one might work," and then I might go to Amazon and be like, "Ooh, maybe I can find an Amazon cheaper. I'll get it that way." But at least I get to touch it and feel it and know that I like it. Then I'll
he
move
walks
on.
in the studio with the HP box with the shipping label
You're
still
not
on the side
adopting
under
a
his arm.
kid. What are we doing here? Just get a bag.
You know what? Some things I'm very particular about.
On Monday, it was pouring out, everybody, and you should know the box was like getting doughy. Cardboard box with his computer in it. It's like falling out the bottom. Somebody here send him a bag.
I just don't know. I've never seen anybody carry around something new in the original box for a week.
Well, it's not been a week. It's only been since Monday, so it's 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. Nice.
I'm gonna get what even is that put on the side.
Oh, there you go. See, now if you had something like that on the website, I could purchase. I might do that.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Do we have computer bags that we can?
No,
buy?
but I'm gonna make you one privately.
Oh,
I'm not gonna make it for sale because who's gonna want that? Nobody. But I'll make one for you.
Paul might.
I might. What are you going to hand
I'll make
stitch
two
it?
of them.
He's gonna hand
So,
stitch.
how are you?
I'm bored listening to this.
Well, I mean, sorry.
Wow. Excuse you.
I mean, no one's forcing you. Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Excuse you, Mr. Pop.
How was your day?
It was.
You carry around a box of something you just bought?
Yeah, it was a nice day.
Okay, good.
Nice day. We were out there house
Freezing
hunting.
in New York.
It was freezing this morning.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It looked so beautiful. The sun was shining, birds were chirping. I go outside with my coffee and my drawers, get
Freeze
the
'em
dogs
up.
out, let my chickens out of the coop, and I froze. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So,
Did you say your
You
drawers?
got chickens?
yeah, I got chickens.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have started doing that.
Yeah, we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, eggs are way
Unfortunately,
down,
our
aren't
girls-
they, though?
Yeah. But still, people like chickens for some reason.
I'm the only guy with chickens with a net loss. My wife feeds them the best food. It ends up being like
net
$7
loss.
an egg.
A net loss. Yeah. Well,
How many chickens you got?
We're down to 2. The girls are getting old. We have 2 left. And when these 2 pass, they're not even laying anymore. They're just pets. My wife loves them. I actually love them too. And when they're done, we're not allowed to eat them. But we are going to get some more of them. I'm going to build a brand new
2?
coop.
man, how do you have like a grand slam breakfast on a Saturday morning with
Yeah.
only 2 of them?
Well, we used to have
save up
3,
for a
and
while.
they were giving 3 a day, and they were all plump and juicy, and it was great. But the next time I do it, I'm going to run it down my whole row of magnolias. I'm going to box them in, keep them protected. Got a nice plan set up for these little girls.
Nice. You're gonna have a heater for it. You gotta have a heater.
Well, for the winter we have it
Yeah.
set up just for like the days when it gets super cold. But they do a good job of insulating themselves, so it's trying to
Okay.
keep them tough and
Kind
hardy.
of cool. Look at you, Paulie.
Yeah.
All right, very good. So Paul's going to have some
I'm
news.
homesteading.
Delgado's going to have some news. Slick's going to do some sports. So you know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't started a show at Crazy Town. And I mean, it's just tonight of all nights. I just figure, and this is actually a first for Crazy Town.
Really?
A first.
Why is that?
Because of who the subject matter is of Crazy Town. It's his first time appearing.
And I got to be honest with you, I thought it was AI.
A first time appearing.
I watched Big D edit it, and I'm like, what is that? Is that AI? Someone? What
No.
is that?
No, please welcome for the first time to Crazy Town, Aaron, get it ready, the President of the United States. Roll it.
We're honored to have a great Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, great state of Michigan, and she's really done an excellent job. And a very good person.
Okay, there you go.
Where the hell she's done a good job?
And she's a really good
And
person.
she's a real good person.
Yeah.
She's the one who set up those two poor schnooks with 10 federal agents to kidnap her. Yeah, she's terrific.
Did I miss something? I didn't get to politics till a little later in the day today. Did I miss something?
There's a good chance she shaved his back and rubbed him with oils because God knows why he's like being nice to her. It's crazy.
One more time, Aaron. Let me see that. Well, just one more time. Roll it.
What's that?
We're honored to have Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, great state of Michigan, and she's really done an excellent job. A very good person.
What?
What?
Wait. No.
I swear to God, that's not AI.
What the hell is he talking about?
Exactly, Joe. Thank you. What? Well, all joking aside, Paul said it right. That man, no matter how well you say it, Paul, you can say it better than I do.
Look,
You said it.
He doesn't care how ugly business gets. He doesn't care how much mud is slung. He does not care how personal it gets on a verbal level. To him, it's all business. And if you guys can work together after that, there's a deal to be made. He don't care. Let's just roll forward and forget it. He rolls off his back. He just don't care.
As long as the next part of the transaction is something that he has an interest in,
He don't care.
he's willing to have moments like that with somebody who is a vile, reprehensible person. I mean, just reprehensible person.
Yeah,
There's no way you're honored. There's no way she's done a good job. And there's no way that she's a good person. She is none of that.
I call her an ankle. She's 2 feet lower than a butthole.
Okay.
I like that
There
one.
you go.
You know what?
Aaron,
The perfect analogy.
Aaron liked that one.
But I'm thinking to myself when I see that clip, what? What?
Yeah. A little crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy town.
Trump.
Meanwhile, did you hear what he said about Adam Schiff? Speaking of how he likes to treat people now.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. Oh,
Falls right in line. He said
no.
this last night. I don't know if you saw this.
no.
We actually missed this from his speech last night. But here he is talking about Adam Schiff. Who would have known that he would have said this? This is cut number 3.
Don't do it.
Trump, talking about Adam Schiff.
Oh, no.
And that's with all of the difficulties and all of the fake investigations and the Adam Shifty Schiffs. Can you believe this guy? He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen.
I heard this.
And the biggest head. We called him watermelon head. I'd say, how could that big fat face stand on a neck that looked like this finger? How can it? It was the weirdest thing. It's a mystery. Nobody can understand it.
Yeah, I'm not following. I don't understand.
It's nothing like the
He
other
said that
one.
last night.
Yeah, I know. We heard that last night.
I wasn't listening.
Oh, I thought you meant he said something nice, like what he said about
No,
Whitmer.
that was the counter to it.
Oh, the counter. See, you had us. Me too. I was believing that.
Yeah,
that he said something nice about Schiff, and I'm thinking, what
He
kind
did,
of deal
yeah.
could he?
That was nice about Adam Schiff, right?
I mean, I don't. The Whitmer thing is just. I have no idea.
I saw a picture. Yeah, I saw a picture of her like standing behind one of the cameras. Before,
Why is she there? I mean, I guess once she's in the room,
You know, because automobile manufacturing coming back to Michigan and Detroit, so maybe she's massaging.
It was something about the water they were signing.
Well,
It wasn't
probably
about
that's
cars. It was about water and the Great Lakes, and he was asking her questions, and it's like, what? She wanted to see you in Gitmo, man, and she would have locked the door and taken the key and thrown it if she could have.
She wanted his job, and she thought that was one way she could have gotten it by faking her own abduction.
I got to be honest with you. I like the fact that he doesn't let it bother him. It's outstanding. You could serve the American people now. You're going to play ball with me? No problem. Get in line.
But she's not going to play ball with him at the first chance she can get. She's not going to play ball. She'll stab him in the back as quick as she could.
No, that's.
I mean,
that's undeniable.
she's. I mean, I have no idea. And by the way, not to defend the president for a second, I have no idea who invited her. It couldn't have been him. Who invites her? Who cares what you're signing in Michigan? She doesn't need to be there. She's a reprehensible person.
You know what? That I guess is the the underbelly of politics, right? Yep. You got to be nice to certain people to get things that you want done.
Yeah, but he's not. We have two senators here from California, but I don't really like them, so I'm not going to introduce them. Yeah, that's what we want. That's what they deserve. It was probably Schiff and who knows who.
Right, but again, that was something that would have built up their ego. This he's probably looking at for the people of Michigan, potential voters, people that he needs. Maybe he's thinking, all right, she's kind of popular still in her state, right?
I don't know. Where's our guy? Where's our man Steve Gruber when we need him? He can lay the smack down on this deal. He's got to be as outraged as I am about it. Ha ha ha! Half joking, but still. What the hell's she doing there?
A good
big
person.
Gretch. Get her out of there.
A good person.
Should have had Tudor Dixon there. Or somebody that actually represents Michigan in a way that is responsible, not reprehensible, like Eva Perón. all the years we joke about. I mean, she's been on the top of the list of people we've hammered. She's done a great job, and she's a great person.
Yeah, well, she was there.
I was looking for Mitch McConnell there somewhere next to him, like holding the back of his neck or something, like threatening him, like he did to ACB or somebody.
Whitmer was in the Oval Office for the president's executive order signing ceremony Wednesday afternoon. She met the president earlier, blah, 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 where, of course, we know she's criticized both Trump's sweeping tariff agenda and vowed to work with the White House on reinvigorating American manufacturing.
Oh, great. Yeah, sure.
Blah, blah, blah. Noted one of the executives could be a good one. I guess it's to boost American shipbuilding, which is big in Michigan, which he's trying to get restarted here in this country.
Okay.
So good. We need to, because China's built more ships in the last 4 years than we've ever built. So
all right.
So there you have it. There's a reason. It's because he needs to get this shipbuilding stuff done.
Oh, okay.
You say
right?
Schiff?
Yeah.
That's
right. All right, just getting started. 13 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this. Chat. What's going on in the chat? Hello to all our friends on YouTube, X, Rumble Getter, Facebook, wherever you're watching, of course. Kick. Brindle Cat on Rumble says Trump has a lot of stuff on the table. He's not like a bunch of idiots on a low-rated TV show.
Hey.
Extremely low-rated, I'll have you know.
Yes, we resemble that.
We resemble that comment. Watch it. Brindle Cat.
I don't think we're on TV.
You can keep excusing it away if you want.
It's nice to know we have some ratings.
Yes.
And they're even
Hello,
lower
Lorraine
than we
Donato.
thought.
Ticked off, was rocking the chat as always.
Howdy,
he's got a lot of display, guys. She's really not that bad. It's okay.
I mean, there are some people Trump could punt a puppy across a football field. It's 4D chess, man.
No,
that puppy was supposed to be.
Don't worry about the spending that the Republican Senate's putting through, Damon. You just don't get it. It's going to be great. $5 trillion debt raise. Don't you worry. It's 4D, 5D, 6D chess.
I'll tell you what my favorite thing today was. Watching liberals get upset that the stock market's up 3,000. They're rooting for the world to end because they would rather cut off their head to spite their torso. They're nuts.
And then they try and take credit for it.
Of course. It's unbelievable.
He responded to our calls about. Shut up. You guys don't even know what's going on. You still
Let's
think,
see.
still
Who
think
else is in
men
the
can
chat?
get pregnant?
Damon, you missed the plot with Gretchen. Oh, really? Please. Racing Banshee, what is the plot? What's the plot? Is she going to take over
Hey,
from
Alice,
Mike Johnson?
Alice
Mike Yaks.
Palkow,
What's the
thank
plot?
you for being in the chat.
Mike Yaks is in the
plot.
Mikey AZ
With
coming
Gretchen
with the
Whitmer.
cash.
Love to know.
Spoke, CJ Moore, Take Me to the Sea.
Mikey AZ, since Slick Rick's not here, I'm gonna do it. Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
Love the show and family chat. Too bad Slick had to miss this part of the show from AZ Mikey. Should I try that again? Take to it. I sucked.
You gotta say it's a $5.
Sorry, AZ
it's a
Mikey.
$5 super chat.
$5. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I'm gonna chip in for a bag.
Nola on X. Ball, tell Damon it's a game. Oh, it's a game. Got it. Hey, let's bring in the governor of Michigan. This is the game, guys. The woman who wanted to throw me in Rikers and my family for the rest of my life. They'll never get it. They'll never see this one coming.
Mikey AZ. Hold on. Mikey AZ Studs goes, never again, Papa. Back to the trunk, sir.
17 past the hour, live from Studio
Mikey.
6B on a Wednesday night. Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're in. Aaron and Fran holding it down. Slick's going to do some sports whenever he gets here. Delgado's going to do the news. Paul Nolan's going to do some news as well. I want to say hello to all of our friends watching on social media, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, X, Rumble, Getter, Kick. We appreciate you giving us 2 hours, 8 to 10 weekdays, Monday through Friday, right here live from Studio 6B. Make sure you head over to livefromstudio6b.com as well. Make sure you become a member over at the website. We'll do sports when Slick gets here, but we'll do some news with Delgado here in a second. Big article in Politico, getting back to some of what we talked about last night. And it's Politico, so take it for what it is. Trump faces a House Republican mutiny. The president is used to steamrolling his internal opposition. This time, the rebellion is in the air. And they say first they caved on the speaker election. That was the Republicans, of course. Then last month they caved and fell in line on the budget vote, of course. They do that every time. And again on then a divisive government funding bill back at the end of last year. And then again now this year. But now it seems House conservatives maybe are ready to make a stand. Ha! Speaker Mike Johnson is staring down the most significant internal revolt he's faced all year. One that threatens his own plans to advance the Republican legislative agenda, and one that even President Trump has been so far unable to squelch. Dozens of House Republicans are undecided or outright opposed to rubber stamping a Senate-approved budget blueprint for the GOP's domestic policy mega bill, an all-out whip effort from Johnson and his leadership team, including a private meeting between Trump and key holdouts, has only produced modest, if any, gains. If Johnson and Trump can't flip most of them in the next 48 hours, lawmakers will start to board flights for a 2-week recess. Weren't they just back from recess?
Yeah.
Aren't they always on recess?
Always on recess. They're like little kids in elementary school, always going on recess.
Denying the president a show of legislative progress as financial markets wobble over his tariffs. Of course, that changed today, as the president changed on tariffs today, which we'll get to as well. By the way, the bill the Senate, as I gave you the facts last night, $5 trillion debt raise, most in history, cuts of $4 billion, spending of umpteen trillion, is not progress. It's not what you voted for. Now, you may be willing to excuse it away because of some whatever. There's some grander plan here that we're all missing, but the grander plan can't be that the country goes bankrupt. The grander plan can't be the debt is going to become double the size of the GDP of the country. which is what we're on pace to be.
Are we at 120 right now? Dollars 120%, and I believe China is at 300%. So this could be a death blow to China. What's going on here? So,
well, I think the president and what's going on with China. I think Vin nailed it last night. But we'll talk more about that today because I think the plan even comes into more focus today with what the president did, obviously leaving China out of it. But the characterization that this is somehow advancing, this is somehow legislative progress. It's legislative insanity. You can't run against high inflation, as every Republican did, and then legislate like Joe Biden 2.0, which is essentially what they'd be codifying. This is worse than Biden-Pelosi spending levels. It's not. We said pre-COVID levels should be at least a baseline. It's not even close to that. It's so bad. Why am I voting on a budget based on promises that I don't believe are going to materialize? One key GOP holdout said. Some of the hard right members have bristled previously at Johnson's big legislative moves, requiring significant attention from GOP whips and sometimes from Trump himself. But previous mutinies stayed relatively small and manageable. This time, the opposition is piling up, and the rebellion is seemingly in the air as deficit hawks across the Republican conference dig in to secure deep cuts to federal spending. Well, let's hope they do, because that's what we voted for. We didn't vote for Biden, Pelosi, Schumer 2.0, even though they're not in charge, which is essentially what we'd be codifying with the Senate bill. Make no mistake about it. It's a disaster. It is an absolute spending disaster. And the juxtaposition, by the way, of the tariffs against this spending bill today this week shouldn't be lost on anybody. Just like when Doge was going back a month or two ago, going through and cutting all these things, and then here's the GOP going to fund all of them in the emergency spending bill. It's just like, what are we doing? And it's the same thing here. The priorities in this spending bill do not show that they have any interest in cutting spending. Well, they don't have any interest in cutting spending. So we'll see what happens. And we heard the president last night. Everybody just basically throw everything out the window and vote for the bill.
Maybe he's weaning us off it like a heroin junkie. He's lowering our dosage of spending. No, it's not. That's not it.
No, it's not. That's not it.
Maybe he's paying back all his donors who helped get him elected. No, it's probably never mind. I don't understand it either.
I mean, and I'm actually surprised more people are not talking about it. I guess, I don't know, people don't talk about it, I guess, because Trump's for it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that's sustainable when it comes to our spending and the budgets. When your party's responsible for the biggest lift in the debt ceiling in history, I don't see how that can be good, given where we fiscally are right now in the country already. So, all right, let's do some news. 23 past the hour, and here with that is Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, I guess we've all seen it, and it was all the news today was the big jump in the markets as the Dow surges 2,900 points. S&P 500 posts its biggest gain since 2008 as President Trump has reversed course, so to speak, in terms of talking about the reciprocal tariffs. He's announced a pause in some of his reciprocal tariffs on the globe, causing the market that had been under extreme pressure for the past week to explode higher. The S&P skyrocketed 9.52% to settle at 54.56, biggest one-day gain since 2008. The Dow Jones advanced 2,962 points, or 7.87%, closed at 40,608 for its biggest advance since March of 2020, and the Nasdaq jumped 12.16% to end the day at 17,124, notching the largest one-day jump since January 2001 and second best day ever. And here was Trump talking about what had caused this this market jump. Here he is talking about the tariffs and, of course, everything that's going on with it, with dealing with China and what caused the market to bounce up forward. Cut number 2. This is cut number 2, Trump.
Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, they've been talking about tariffs for decades. How come when these Democrat elites want tariffs, everything's hunky-dory, but when President Trump wants tariffs, all hell breaks loose? Do you see this double standard?
I love this guy, whoever the hell that is. That's really nice. I appreciate that question. No, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, everybody knew you had to do it, but they never had the guts to do it. It does take guts. It even takes guts for our country to go through it. That's why I say be cool. They were saying about, see, just be cool. It's going to work out. It's going to work out, and it's working out. I can tell you, working out maybe faster than I thought. But I said it's going to take a little conditioning. It's a transition to. It's really, I think it's a transition to greatness. It's going to be greatness. Our country is going to be. There'll be nothing like it, and people investing in our country, they're going to do better than they've ever done before.
Yeah, so there he is. He authorized a 90-day pause. It substantially lowered this reciprocal tariff to 10%. That's going to remain for 90 days. He says that the other countries have 90 days to make their deals, or they know where it's going to end up.
I was just going to ask you, were there any deals announced today?
None that I've seen.
Okay. All right, live from Studio 6B, 26 past the hour. We'll do more on tariffs when we get back right after this.
Save it for the air.
Yeah.
I've been following it. It's really what I put my time. That, the geopolitical.
Yeah, just about all my clips are having to do with that. That's what everybody was talking about. Going back to the chats. Chat. Oh, KT Frog 2060, Drake 99, Lunch Lady 78, Bill of Wright 1776, Frederick Leathers. Those are all in the Rumble chat. RD Bull. RD Bull. Whitmer of Michigan is a Marxist cow. You would be correct.
I think that's generous.
Yes. Though it's an affront to cows.
Did you see the ever important Moby?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Moby asked Trump voters, can you finally admit you were wrong?
And then all of a sudden,
right,
the market rebounds. These people are so stupid. Just shut up and sit back and watch. Everybody wants, you know what? It's that whole, I need satisfaction now.
Yeah.
Now. That microwave mentality. If I can't have it right now, that means it's terrible.
Stupidity just keeps getting richer by the minute. So,
Janet Nay on Facebook. Why is Damon reading a political article and believing it? Well, Janet, maybe your screen cut out, but when I said it from Political, I said, so take it for what it's worth. Maybe you didn't hear that part. It's okay. I know Facebook, sometimes the audio can be a little
dicey.
That's
a good word.
It's a good word. It is a good word.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
Dicey.
Dave Syverson wants to know whose couch he can crash on for the live show.
Damon has plenty of room. You could probably hang out in his hot tub.
I mean, there's a futon here at the office.
Harry's got space.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Harry's the one.
Yeah, you like Harry's. He's got a harem of young women. Yeah. Harry has concubines. Drake Black, $10. Thanks, big guy. Appreciate it. Let me see. He had an interesting. All right, so this is a dissenting take. We should do it real quick. People forget that Trump has never been a conservative ideologue. He does what he thinks is best for the U.S. and likes whoever flatters him, even if it means being nice to people the right hates.
That is very true.
Right.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night, Real America's Voice, and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Welcome on in. Glad you're here. Slick's going to do some sports in a little bit. Delgado's doing news. Paul Nolan's going to do some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down on the big board, of course. And if you're watching on social media, we appreciate it. Welcome on in as well. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe wherever you're watching. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media, pretty much at LFS6B everywhere. And you can go to livefromstudio6b.com, of course. So we were doing news. We'll do some more with Delgado. We were talking about the tariffs. So Trump comes out and basically today says, we're going to pause 90 days. We're hearing from everybody. But he doesn't announce any deals today, if I'm correct, right?
Right. Yeah. From what I understand, and this was listening to Howard Lutnick and Scott Besson talk about this, that they had gotten called by so many countries. I guess the number was up to 70. And Trump said once it got that busy, he says, "Okay, you know what? Let's do this. Let's announce a pause. Let's get you guys working with these 70 countries, see what they can bring us, and then we'll go from there." So he's keeping the 10%, like the article states. He's keeping the 10% across the board for now. And he said, from what Lutnick said, they understood that, but they want to try and get a deal as quickly as possible. So,
okay. So you figure you would figure they're going to have to announce some deals.
Right.
In the next month or so?
Probably in the next few days. They'll probably get some of the smaller countries that, this really hurts. Because, again, when you look at it, when you hear it explained by Kevin O'Leary and people like that, we are the buyer. We're the market for the world.
39% of all of consumer products by the U.S.
Right, come to the U.S. We are China's Walmart. They have to come to us because we buy their stuff. So that's why he doesn't have a problem going up as high against China, because China doesn't even allow our stuff in there. It's like, they're going to go to 400%. Who cares? We can't sell there anyway.
One of the things Kevin O'Leary really touched on, I thought there was a bigger point besides the complete.
That was a great clip, O'Leary. That was some hardcore MAGA stuff. Do we have that clip?
Do we have it?
It should go to 400%. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Because it's true, the intellectual property, he can't litigate in their courts.
Right.
If you have it, it's
it's
perfect.
cut number 1. Here's Kevin O'Leary on China and the tariffs. Check it out.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it, and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that look like?
I want Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field. This is not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that puts up and says enough. 400% tariffs tomorrow morning. He'll tell you why. Xi can only stay the supreme leader if people are employed. If we wipe out any business there, because we are still 39% of all consumables on Earth and 25% of the world's GDP, America is the #1 economy on Earth with all the cards. We will not have that forever. It's time to squeeze Chinese heads into the wall now.
Well, hold on a second, Kevin. Well, I hear you, but hold on. If we're talking about people, the average consumer, not necessarily the head honchos of businesses all across the globe, can they withstand the pressure of that sort of tax on the goods?
It's short-lived. There will be.
But what's your timeline compared to? You don't know the average American's timeline, what they can actually survive. There's people right now who can't survive.
400% tomorrow morning. Cheese on an airplane to Washington to cut a deal.
Yeah. See, to me, I think the bigger impact on this is going to be China's GDP had been growing and growing and growing, but they've been doing a lot of it simple, obviously on the American taxpayers' consumption, but more than that, it's. Their slave labor, all their economic conditions they've created. But the fact that they're able to build their military at such a rate it's just a matter of time before their global GDP ends up being close, like almost matching ours. That has to get stopped here. It's got to get stopped now. There are plenty of little countries that'll be happy to take on the manufacturing roles. There'll be plenty of people who will be willing to bring business back to America. This has been a currency war from Jump Street. It always should have been. And I got to be honest with you, I don't care about anything other than America. We absolutely positively have to get manufacturing back here as ASAP. And this is definitely going to do it.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny that you bring up the manufacturing part, Paul, because that's exactly what back in 1993 Ross Perot was talking about. When they were talking about the NAFTA deal, and he complained that, all these presidents trying to get this deal done, and they couldn't sell it. Nobody could sell this deal. Here he is, and he explains why it's a bad deal. Here's cut number 11, wise words from Ross Perot. Check this out.
Go to the big picture, and skip the personal stuff. People who don't make anything can't buy anything. Let's start with that. We are 85% of the market. Canada is 11% of the buying power.
Of the total 3 markets.
And Mexico is only 4%. People who don't make anything cannot buy anything. Never forget that.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line. And that's where we've ended up, where we don't make things anymore.
Yeah, and we saw the media machine back then eviscerate him like he was a wacko, like he was a moron. I mean, this is a guy who, let's be honest, I mean, he was bringing more sense to American politics for the first time in forever. I mean, we never saw a businessman like that exposing all the stupidity of our government, all the waste of our government. And it's, again, he was a threat to, the corporate interests. So
yeah, and he got almost 30% back when we actually had 3 people running.
Yeah.
If you remember, it was crazy.
Yep.
Speaking, Damon, you want me to keep going here? Because I got what?
I just laughed at Ross Perot, boy. Ross Perot.
Ross Perot.
If you want 5 pounds of poop in a 4-pound bag, you've got to take one out.
I don't know. I don't know.
He used to just say stuff and go, oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember Dana Carvey's impersonations from on SNL. They were terrific.
Now, let me finish. Let me finish.
Oh, man. You know what? President Trump and China, it does seem like maybe all of this was, in the end, going to always come back to being a China-focused thing, this whole thing. And all the other peripheral stuff that we can get done, we'll get done. But this was really all about China. Similar to, I've said on the show for a long time, and I know the least about this is probably anybody who talks about it, but I've said for a long time that the U.S. has multiple ways, if they really wanted to clamp down on China, to do it financially, through the banking system, through many other ways. And when you look at what President Trump is doing here, is not too dissimilar to what President Reagan did financially, trying to ruin the Soviet Union. And that's the tack that President Trump seems to be taking here.
It's funny. I think I wrote the same thing on Facebook today. This seems like a different version of the Cold War. Right?
Yeah, it's very similar.
Well, trying to break them, but doing it, over tariffs and trade, as opposed to outspending them when it comes to military buildup.
And to that point, it's also another repeat. The fentanyl coming to America is like the opium was, eons ago. So history repeats, and the same techniques work. One of the things I think is overlooked, too, is China had so much influence with its bots, with all its anti-Israel, all anti-American, had a lot of say in Brazil, the overturning of those elections. People don't talk about all these globalists who made it in a really part of the Chinese agenda, because China has been hand-fed so many benefits to create and keep all these manufacturing jobs with their endless slave labor and their horrifying policy against the human beings there. But let's be honest. I mean, the people there are going to end up making $1 an hour, and they're going to end up quitting. They're going to starve, and they already have a population issue. I don't know if you saw this, but China's paying their citizens to have children now. They're actually paying big money because they need to get their population up, because they are on the verge of two generations from collapsing on itself. So, this is the best time. Put pressure on them. Enough. Let them go out of business, as far as I'm concerned.
You know who Steve Eisman is?
Of course.
Big short investor? Yeah. Here's what he had to say about Trump's tariffs and talking again about NAFTA and where you build stuff. Here it is, cut number 5. Here's Steve Eisman. Check this out.
I think the issue is that everybody of our social class took Econ 101.
And we were all taught the same thing. Trade good, tariffs bad, trade war terrible. And that was drummed into everybody's heads with such force that it's a paradigm that now you have a president of the United States who doesn't seem to accept that paradigm, and people find that extremely jarring. So what I try and do in situations like this is try and step in the shoes of the other person, see the world through their eyes, and try not just to understand what they think, but why they think it. And I think what's going on here is you have to go back to the 90s when Clinton was pushing NAFTA and China entering the WTO. And he basically made two arguments, that free trade would improve GDP growth and would create a lot of jobs. And he was right on the former, and he was dead wrong on the latter. And, if you travel this country, there are parts of this country that would have been devastated over the last 25 years because of free trade, because they didn't just lose their jobs, they lost their towns.
Yep.
So I think President Trump is taking the attitude, free trade is great, but GDP isn't just a number, it's people. And there are whole parts of this country that have suffered terribly. And we have the freest markets in the world, and he wants to reorder it.
Yeah, which could explain why Gretchen Whitmer, again, was at the White House today. And it had to do with the shipbuilding deal and keeping open that Air National Guard base.
Without a doubt.
So,
without a doubt, manufacturing coming back. We've seen $7 trillion in investment coming back to the States. You look at the trade deficit with China. I think it was somewhere near $1 trillion that China made off us. That has to end. It just has to.
Yeah.
Speaking of tariffs and trade, while we're on it, I don't want to, because I forgot yesterday. Aaron, who's the clip of the guy I had testifying yesterday, who dealt with all the hysterical Democrats in just a fantastic way? Greer, I think was the last name. Yeah, I think it's Ambassador Greer.
I didn't see the clip.
I got a couple of clips from him that if we have some time, we'll get to. He was in front of the, I think it was the Senate committee yesterday, talking about tariffs and President Trump's, and he's got all these hysterical Democrats like Elizabeth Warren and some others. I could have picked any one of them.
The burly bearded guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
He was masterful in just handling all of these absolutely hysterical, nonsensical comments from people who can barely even articulate what it is they're trying to say, because they don't know what they're trying to say. They have no idea how to approach this. They don't even know what's going on. They have no idea how this works. Well, he did a fantastic job in disarming them and making them look, well, as stupid as they do a pretty good job of doing themselves. So if we have some time, we'll get to those as well. Live from Studio 6B. On a Wednesday, we're back right after this. Let me have the computer. I want to hear Belichick mic'd up at spring practice already. Okay, great. This way.
Hope there ain't no curses.
No sound? I thought I did.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
My buddy Kevin from Arizona says, I really like that Paul is back. He's a smart effer.
Nice, man. Your friends, I got him duped.
How about now?
Mondo, we got to get the gloves on these guys. It's holding on every play, usually twice.
What's up, Slick?
Hey, good route.
Up.
That's the right idea. It's close. Good job on the split safeties.
Yeah.
We hit him in no huddle. We hit him here. At least we're throwing the ball to the right place. Second down. We're live. Tackle in front. Tackle in front. This is live. It's live. Tackle in front. Stay off the quarterback.
Come off the edge and it's a run. You don't want me to take him from the side, do you?
No, just we know you got him. Get on the sideline. Tag off. Tag off. Stay off the quarterback. Tag off on the runners. This is not live. This is not live, but we're competing here. You got a lot of pressure anyway. Just clear him. That'll clear him. All right, here we go. First down. Hold on. Freddie, 4 seconds.
4 seconds. One play.
We'll put it on the 9.
These kids have got to be, everyone has to be so pumped up having coaching.
Good call, Bobby. You're getting those. You're getting a lot of those. Like, damn near every call you make's a good call. I'm telling you.
Going to Wrestling Academy soon.
Yeah. Seam. Then we hit.
Opposite of rotation, yeah.
Sounds
different. Then we hit a.
Sounds like he's happy.
In
cut, and then we hit a. That's how you move the ball down the field. You got to hit some of those plays. And look, we were still 30 seconds left on the clock. All right?
Yes, sir.
Nice job. Nice job. What was the next play we hit? An in cut. Then what was the last play we hit? Go get there. That's how you move the ball. You got to hit some of those plays. It's a lot quieter over there on defense when we make a few plays. That's how.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night. Glad you're in. Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Slickster's in the house. Slickster, look at that.
Big D, come on.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
How was your whatever you were at?
It was a very nice event with the airport, and it was good stuff. Good, a town of Islip, doing my government work as I normally do. Great stuff.
Did people notice you?
Yes. The woman who runs JetBlue noticed me. She goes, "Oh, the guy in the pink suit." I'm like, "Hey, come on, Big D." They don't miss me.
Now, is that pink satin? What is it?
Yeah, that's satin.
Pink satin, yeah.
Pink satin. Yes, sir.
Looking good. How was your day, Slick, other than that? Good?
It was terrific.
Terrific?
Yeah, it's a good day. I had a good day.
Okay.
We'll play on
All right,
words
very
there,
good.
Big D.
We'll get to some sports with Slickster here in a second. But let's do some news with Paul Nolan. He's here on a Wednesday night. Mr. Nolan, what's going on?
There's a bunch going on. Did we mention the tariffs yet?
We did.
I wanted to talk about some of the stupid people on the planet. People
we don't have that much time.
Yeah, well, people with a microphone. I'll keep this quick so the audience doesn't throw up and quit. You guys might remember the has-been DJ Moby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said he asked Trump voters, "Can
Moby.
you finally
Porcelain. Yeah, that
admit
great song, Porcelain,
you
back
were
in the
wrong?"
early 90s.
This constant Donald Trump critic, and sometimes DJ Moby has returned to his favorite pastime of dismissing the Republican president who support him. Can you blow me up? Nobody cares. So to double down on that, Joy Behar, the dumbest person on earth, she's chiming in. Joy Behar tells her co-hosts Wednesday at ABC The View that President Donald Trump is intentionally destroying the U.S. economy. He's doing it on purpose because he could create chaos and he could declare martial law to become the dictator he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to read the quote, but I started to gag as I was saying it. So I'm avoiding it. But the stupidity keeps going. They keep doubling down. And I'm finding it extremely enjoyable, to be completely blunt.
He's gonna introduce martial law.
Yeah, of course he is.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you saw, speaking of the stupid department, immigration activists have sued to block President Trump's deportating alleged Venezuelan gang members using wartime authority. The Trump administration has invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, as you guys know. Supreme Court ruled the Trump administration could continue the use of the century-old authority to deport illegal Venezuelan immigrants. The Trump Justice Department spokesperson said that the department has vigorously defended President Trump's policies and will continue to do whatever and whenever challenged in federal court by rogue judges who think they can control the president's foreign policy. Lee Gerland, a lawyer for the American Civil Liberty Unions, I didn't know they were still in business. The ACLU is.
Who's heard from them?
Where have they been? I mean, when free speech was getting slaughtered and riots were everywhere and bombing the daylights out of every Middle Eastern country. Okay, I'm glad they're active again. Meanwhile, grandma says, please don't kill a baby in front of an abortion clinic, and she's doing 6 months in jail. But contrary to the administration's wishful characterization, the Supreme Court emphatically rejected the government's position that they could whisk people away without giving them an opportunity to challenge their removal to a foreign prison. The court simply issued a technical ruling that challenges that should be by habeas corpus, but in no way remotely suggests the Trump administration would win these challenges. So let's be honest, it's not official he's going to win this, but in the meantime, it's going okay. But until it's codified to law, we know that this could be a problem. But I still don't understand what the mentality of these wackadoodles is, that they don't want gang members with tattoos on their face saying MS-13 on it, and then teardrops to identify how many people they whacked. We don't need them. Just move on. You're an illegal immigrant. We'll worry about it later. Stop. We don't care about your feelings. So that's what I got for now.
All right, very good. Jake Sherman over at Punch Bowl tonight is reporting about 40 minutes ago that the House has delayed a vote on the budget resolution. After waiting 80 minutes, the GOP needs to go back to the drawing board. So I'll try to look for a follow-up to that, but that was about 40 minutes ago from Punch Bowl News, saying that the Republicans are not ready to take a vote on this, probably because I would assume they think they don't have the vote still. So that was about 40 minutes ago. So we'll take a look at that. Slickster, you want to do some sports? You ready?
Yeah, I can jump into the scores and stuff. Sure, absolutely.
All right, let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6P is the promo code to use. We were supposed to be doing a live taste test of the new Rev 7.
What happened?
Oh, what happened?
Well, Big D left it in the old refrigerator at home. That's what happened.
So then we're going to do the live taste test of the bourbon.
I said to Aaron, Aaron was asking me something, and I said, just text me to remind me, because if you don't, I'll never forget.
Oh, now it's Aaron's fault.
Aaron texts me.
Oh, Aaron.
And I still didn't do it.
Oh, Aaron did come through.
Oh, yeah, no, she did what she was. Of course she did.
Oh, yeah, I texted him.
Yeah, she texted me. Yeah, she texted me. And I actually responded to the text saying, thanks for reminding me, and then still forgot.
Well, you were probably on the way to pick up bottled water and things like that.
Yeah. So.
And batteries and other things that we might need
we have
to
creamer.
do the show.
Creamer, we have creamer.
Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6P is the promo code. So we'll do the live taste test tomorrow.
Sure.
Yes.
Of course we will.
Because Friday night we'll be over at the warehouse.
Yes.
That's
Slick,
great.
what's going on in sports?
Great. I'm glad you'll do it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's great.
All right, Mr. Nolan, to the ice we go. NHL action getting down to the wire. That Islander game last night, I'm telling you, man. That was one. I couldn't have the heart to text Vin Buda, but I called that one because that was the biggest blow game that they've ever seen.
I got to be honest with you.
That was incredible.
I couldn't believe what I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Unbelievable.
I'd rather chew on a pile of tinfoil than watch that game.
It was one of the most horrendous performances I've seen as a 45-year fan.
They just didn't care.
Yeah, well, this is what happens. But there's some guys who do care, and that'd be the Toronto Maple Leafs right now beating the Lightning 2-1 in Amalie Arena, end of 2. We got 7:51 to go in the second. Flyers and Rangers tied at 1. Well, Islanders and Rangers tomorrow, and I can't imagine who's going to win that one. Wild 2-1 over the Sharks, end of 1. And we got the Blues, sound like the Blues right there, Big D in Edmonton, taking on the Oilers at 10 p.m. And Flames in Anaheim to take on the Ducks, also at 10 p.m. Puck drop there. NBA action also getting down to the wire. Playoffs are going to be starting before you know it, folks. We got the Magic leading the Celtics 88-67, 7:23 to go in the fourth quarter. The Sixers, oh, good Lord, up 89-79, end of 3 over the Wizards. What could possibly go wrong there? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Raptors 67-54 over the Hornets, 7 to go there in the third. And at the half, the Lakers over the Mavs, 60-57. Heat leading the Bulls 39-36, about 6 to go there in the second quarter. And a number of games coming up west. We'll get those scores a little bit later on this evening. Major League Baseball, you ask. Sure, full swing now. Baseball rocking and rolling. We got the Blue Jays and Red Sox tied at 1, top of the 10th. End of 6, Rays over the Angels 4-3. No score, Phillies and Braves through 5. Bottom 5, we have the Twins and Royals 1-0 there. Minnesota winning that one in Kansas City. Brewers and Rockies, no score, bottom 1. Earlier today, we've got some finals in 13 innings. Good one in Pittsburgh. Pirates defeat the Cardinals 2-1. Marlins blank the Mets in Citi Field 5-0. Yankees edge the Tigers, Rick, 4-3 in Detroit. Good win for the Yanks there. Rangers 6-2 over the Cubs at Wrigley. Padres down the Athletics 2-1. Orioles get blanked by the Diamondbacks 9-0. Cincinnati Reds lose again in 10 to the Giants 8-6. Dodgers ed the Nationals. Dodgers look like the team to beat this year. 6-5, they win that game in Washington. The Astros fell to the Mariners 7-6, and the Guardians, were edged by the White Sox 3-2. And of course, that news continues to come out of the Dominican Republic. This is Pedro Martinez now weighing in. Pedro Martinez says family members missing after roof collapse. ESPN News Services from earlier this afternoon. Hall of Fame pitcher, the great Pedro Martinez, said on social media that several of his family members were inside the nightclub that collapsed in the Dominican Republic early Tuesday. I still have family members that are still in the rubbles, and we don't know what happened to them, Martinez said in a video posted on Instagram earlier last night. At least 124 people have been killed, with hundreds more injured from the collapse at the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo that occurred around 1 a.m. Tuesday. They still don't know the exact causes as far as what I've saw earlier today. So terrible news there for Pedro Martinez's family and some of the other ball players that lost their lives as well. And that's a wrap, Big D. Back to you.
All right, it's a wrap on Hour 1. Hour 2 coming up live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
Talk about night and day, Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful.
And when you watch the show, Cuban's unbearable, and Mr. Wonderful's so much fun. Like the way he's so harsh, but at least he's real.
Yep.
But
he's kind of like President Trump in a lot of ways. The way he kind of goes at it, he tells you what you know. Hey, I don't really want to hear that. Well, this is what it is. It's tough love.
I love when people come in with the most ridiculous evaluations of their company because they think they have a good idea. It's worth $13 billion. I get a kick out of that show.
I was listening to you guys coming in. By the way, you guys sounded great, and I was listening to that clip by Mr. Wonderful. 400% tariff on China. I love it. Hey, that'll get, like you said, that'll get Xi on a plane tomorrow. He'll be in D.C. President Trump. We got to do a deal.
Listen, we've been talking about this since Jump Street. As much of it's going to be saber rattling as is basically beating the daylights out of your opponent. And we have all the cards, as he says. I mean, if everybody's, could you imagine Trump had the support of the left in terms of the way that the liberals supported Ukraine? Oh, we got to. If they supported the economic policies of this trade war would be done already. Everyone says, well, we're not going to buy anything with a made in China label on it. You know what I mean? It would be over.
Oh, yeah. Now, how much does any of you guys know? How much are we into China and their banks? Like, what is the United States of our $35 trillion debt right now? 36.
That's a great question.
How much do we owe the Chinese, banks?
You know what? I'm going to ask ChatGPT that.
Because you know what? That's risky for them to mess with us. Think about it.
I don't think we could just.
Like when a guy owes you a lot of money, you don't want to see him go out of business, right?
Exactly.
No. Right. It's true.
I think that I've seen that debate with economists about if we did default on it, it would destroy the U.S. dollar. But I do know he does want to suppress the U.S. dollar. There's a lot of interesting videos on it. I should share. I don't know if you guys want to watch it. It's a little bit boring, but it shows how if we could depreciate the dollar a little bit, it'll open trade up, and the way that it'll punish China. It'll be almost like they won't be able to compete because they fake manipulate their currency. If we continue to do things with the market going down, this guy George Gammons does a great job of explaining it. I can't re-explain it. I understood it, but I couldn't explain it. So I'll send you the video if you're interested.
I'd love to see that.
It's only like 16, 17 minutes long. It's not overbearing, but
what kind of bag are they holding us?
That's a good question. I'm going to chat GBT.
I haven't heard that anywhere.
We have a $5 rant on Rumble from Ratchet. It says, Slick, did you see the LeBron Ken doll Mattel is putting out? It sells for $75, but it doesn't fall and flop around the floor when touched.
I like that one right there. Yeah, not see that doll.
right, hour two, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice, and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio on a Wednesday, April 9th, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Glad you're in, everybody. Slick Rick's going to do some sports in hour two. Rick Delgado's going to have some news. Paul Nolan's going to have some news as well. Glad you're in, of course, the live from Studio 6B audience. Aaron and Fran holding it down. As always, lots to talk about. We're talking about tariffs in hour one. Let's talk a little bit about something that's going on at the FBI. And I feel motivated to talk about this story, specifically to this audience, because this audience has been very vocal, very attached to, very much invested in, it's probably the best word, to the January 6th cause and the J6ers. Yeah. And I saw this headline over at the Blaze Media. It's been other places as well. Kash Patel's surprising appointment of a top J6 inquisitor to head the D.C. FBI office. New assistant director in charge of the Washington field office, described as the organizer of the entire J6 roundup. The surprise appointment of a hard-line critic of January 6 protesters to lead the FBI's Washington field office has set the conservative political world ablaze and put new FBI Director Kash Patel in the line of fire from a vocal group of President Trump's supporters. News first broke. I did not hear this, by the way, until I saw this article.
I didn't hear anything about that.
News first broke April 4th in the New York Times that Stephen J. Jensen was named assistant director in charge of the most powerful of the FBI's 56 field offices. Conservative critics and pundits who were expecting to see the FBI gutted and reformed under President Trump took the news of Jensen's appointment extremely hard. Jensen built the construct for the January 6th witch hunt. After the Times published an article about Jensen's appointment, the Gateway pundit called it fake news. On April 6th, Blaze News confirmed Jensen's appointment to the key FBI job. Debate raged on social media whether Jensen's appointment was real and why the FBI had not made a formal announcement of the promotion. Such major appointments are typically announced via news release. Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch said this guy was a key figure in this domestic terror push against January 6ers. He treated them all as terrorists and was one of the key instigators in pushing the narrative within the bureaucracy that these folks needed to be jailed and ferreted out. The FBI's National Press Office declined to comment on Jensen's appointment and referred Blaze News Media to the homepage for the Washington field offices, where Jensen is now listed as the assistant director in charge. Jensen was associated with some of the worst rights abuses at the FBI, according to Mike Howell, president of the Oversight Project. Steve Jensen should not have a job at the FBI. He was on the bleeding edge of some of the worst abuses at the FBI. The coordinated pushback on those calling him out is unfortunate, but it's already had to backtrack on key points. For instance, first, it was that Jensen was not promoted. That turned out to be unequivocally false. He was. Now we're at the stage of people pretending it's somehow a good thing that he was promoted. George Hill, retired FBI National Security Intelligence Supervisor, called Jensen the leader of the J6 roundup of domestic terrorists. In testimony before the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Federal Government, Hill said he took part in regular phone conferences led by Jensen and former FBI Director Stephen D'Antonio. So this goes on and on and on and on, basically saying that this guy's really the key cog in the wheel of let's go get these guys. He built the construct for what was the January 6th witch hunt. He had a ready-made buffet of never-ending domestic terrorists to go after, and he went at every one of them very aggressively, quote unquote. So Delgado, I'll come to you first. What's with this appointment?
I have no idea. The only thing, and this is just a theory, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't know if it's true. It's just a theory, David.
You're winging it.
I'm winging it. Yes, I'm spitballing, as they say, throwing it up against the wall, see what sticks. Could be that because of this guy's, what do you call it? His involvement in being basically the center of this universe of J6 tormentors and rounding people up, that he knows everything about everything, and he flipped.
You know, that's what I was hoping for too.
And maybe he's like, look, I will tell you everything I have, and we will, you know, maybe he turned into a white hat.
But he wants diplomatic immunity.
Right, exactly. And maybe that's the underlying thing here that we don't know.
Because when you look into that, it was a Fed insurrection from Jump Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the podcast debate this and discuss it, and there wasn't as much optimism as you and I have. I am hoping.
Who would you watch debate it?
It was Tim Cast, URL, IRL, I don't know. But he had Tim Pool had a couple. I don't even know the names of the guys, but it was a good discussion. It was interesting. Nowhere near as optimistic as I hope to be on this. I am hoping that somebody's going to blow the whistle, because that, to me, it was such a false flag operation. And those rubes who went in thinking it was, they were going to stay inside those velvet ropes, who were doing a year or 2 years in prison, and the craziness outside, and the bombs that was set for Kamala outside, and there was just so many fake things. Remember how many videos when that happened we showed of Antifa and people saying, I just videoed that bus coming off.
Right.
Where's all that footage?
Yeah.
You know, the billion hours that came in, and where is that footage? There was so much chicanery that day, for the lack of better words. I almost might have close to cursed there. It was just so much BS that day. So I would really like the truth to come out. I could not believe this appointment.
Tom Fitton said he's troubled at the lack of discussion so far about reforming the FBI overall and the Department of Justice. What I am not seeing out of the FBI yet, and what I'm not seeing out of the Justice Department yet, is a radical remaking, or even talking about a remaking that we've seen, the kind that we've seen with USAID, that we've seen with the Department of Education. There's nothing the FBI is doing that another federal agency or local or state law enforcement can't do. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino apparently responding to growing impatience for change, but without directly referencing the controversy, asked for continued forbearance as the process unfolds. Quote, when you see something happen and the entire story isn't public and the underlying facts aren't all public, it may appear counterintuitive to our reform agenda. I promise you it's not an accident, Bongino posted to X on Sunday evening. I realize asking you to trust me is a waste of time. Watch what happens. Continue to demand results. Be cautious of narrative traps. Let time put the puzzle pieces together, and what we are doing will make sense. I see and I hear you and your feedback.
I still believe that Dan Bongino is above reproach.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think he can be bought or sold at any level.
No way.
I have the ultimate amount of faith in him as a patriot and a fearless man, a man's man.
So I totally agree with that.
Totally.
But still an interesting appointment and what the reasoning possibly could be, because it certainly doesn't go with the reform idea.
No, it doesn't go anywhere near it. It runs in the opposite direction. Yeah. Unless, of course, there's something, again, a lot of this stuff, we just don't know what's going on in the background. We don't know, what deals are being made, what cards are being played, what this guy has in his pocket to say, look, here's how I can be helpful to you. Here's what here's what I want.
To weigh in on that and to piggyback on what you're saying, we know that the media is going to eviscerate Trump on whatever he takes down. I mean, they found all that fraud, and somehow or another he was the devil at Doge. How anybody could be against waste, fraud, and abuse is beyond me, right? But they somehow or another made him out to be the devil. If he takes down people inside of J6, which is the ultimate chew toy for the liberals, it's the last thing they can hold on to say he's an insurrectionist, he's a felon, It's like their greatest weapon in their feeble little arguments against him and him being a dictator or an oligarch, or all the BS we have to hear. He needs ironclad proof, unequivocal,
yes,
endless amounts of data and evidence so that it can't be debated. Because even when it is black and white, he'll be eviscerated, he'll be debated, he'll be called a liar. The media will mislead. It's got to be ironclad. So that's why I'm trying to be patient. But
and another question is, because okay, what's this guy's story? I mean, let's face it. When you work for one of these agencies, you have bosses, right? You listen to your order. What's your order? You got to go do this. Okay, and you do it.
Yeah.
Do you have to fear being prosecuted and everything? Possibly. Or maybe it was his excuse, hey, I was given this task. I did it the best of my ability. This is what they wanted. This is what I gave you. I know everything. Here's what I can give you. I don't know. Maybe that's the deal they struck.
Your lips to God's ears. That would be ideal.
Right. Because he'd be the worst person for the left.
Yeah.
To be like, they were probably praying he got fired.
The only thing better would be like a gallon of sodium pentothal, a roll of duct tape, and Nancy Pelosi tied to a chair. Because that's the only way we're really going to get the truth. So,
yeah. All right, 11 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some news. And here with that is Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, a little Barack Obama news for you with Big Mike as Michelle Obama responds to divorce rumors, Damon.
Oh.
But stops short of denying that they're true. The former First Lady has lashed out at swirling rumors that her marriage has collapsed, but she stopped short of confirming that she's not getting divorced. As Slay News reported, rumors that she and the former president, Barack Obama, are getting divorced have been circulating for months. Several insiders have claimed that the Democrat power couple have long been separated, but continue to charade as a display of unity during the 2024 election. During her terrible podcast, published on Wednesday, Michelle Obama responded by complaining about the interest in the rumor, but failed to confirm or deny their truth. Michelle has attracted attention, of course, even prompted questions about her marriage after skipping recent high-profile events. She failed to join her husband at Donald Trump's inauguration and late President Jimmy Carter's funeral as well. Both events attended by Barack Obama as he went stag, hanging out. Just hanging out with the fellas, as they say.
Yeah, he's hanging out already.
Without the big fella with him. Anyhow, there you have it.
Swing low.
All right, 13 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We'll do some more sports with Slick News with Rick Delgado coming up right after this.
Ticked off goes, Papadola, and I hope they can settle this like men. And then someone else, Miss Mon had one. Barack wants a more feminine dude. Yeah, I was telling the guys, I went to Michelle Obama's page for her podcast, and the comments are just so fake. It's all it is like they're paid bots. And like if you go on it, you'll see any positive comment, and it's instantly like you tap the profile, and it's it's a brand new account. They never made a comment anywhere before, and 0 followers. It's just too funny how they're trying to pump that thing up.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
None of these people are genuine. That's the problem. That's why these things don't take off.
Exactly right.
You got to be genuine.
You got one read here, Damon. We have a guest at 9:30.
Oh, who's the guest? I'll answer at once.
I don't know.
Oh, Peter Galuli. Just on Monday?
When I hear Galuli, I think of Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You're right. Get the bat out.
Hey, Zeus, I did it so you don't have to. I just wanted to see how... Never been there, never will be there watching that. Yeah, I don't blame you. I had to see how fake it was. Supposedly she had like 200,000 views, but Ooh, Child of the King with a big $47 bomb.
Yeah, 47, 45.
Yeah, gotta get this. I botched the read before, Slick Rick.
No worries. At least you did it. $47, Child of the King. Yes, Paul, thank you. On the YouTube chat, Mike can't divorce or vomit because men can't marry men. God said it. That settles it. Amen, Child of the King. $47 from downtown, Big D.
Thank you very much.
I need therapy after watching it.
Jesus Perez.
I wasn't there long. I was just trolling.
That was Jesus Perez.
Sound like the blues on a Wednesday night live from Studio 6B. Well, you know, tariffs have thrown the global economy into chaos. Potential widespread inflation tied to massive supply chain disruptions weighing heavily on all of us. But there is a silver lining that most people missed. President Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from these sweeping tariffs. While these new policies are triggering significant financial chaos, the administration preserved your ability to diversify into precious metals. If you're concerned about your savings, I would encourage you to have a free consultation today with our friends from the Birch Gold Group and their precious metal specialist. The first step to do that is to text the word America to 989898 and receive your free, no obligation information kit on gold. Learn how to hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of pocket. You can buy your gold from Birch Gold, and it's probably finally time that you look into it and maybe even do it. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of thankful customers, text the word America to the number 989898. Again, text the word America to 989898. And claim your free information kit from our friends at Birch Gold right now. Text America, send it to 989898. Talk to our friends from Birch Gold and see how precious metals can maybe fit into your portfolio. All right, 18 past the hour. Let's do some sports. Slick's here with it. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, a story that's gotten a lot of national attention. Senator Ted Cruz launches investigation into USA fencing over trans inclusion policy. This is Catherine Hamilton of Breitbart. Senator Ted Cruz on Monday launched an investigation into USA fencing over its policy allowing transgender identifying men to compete against women. Cruz, who is chairman of the United States Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, is demanding the governing body change its policy of allowing sex-confused men to compete against women, according to a letter first obtained by Outkick. Cruz sent the letter after female fencer Stephanie Turner, we reported on this last week, refused to compete against Redmond Sullivan, a male fencer who claims to be a woman. USA Fencing notably has a policy allowing athletes to compete on teams according to their gender identity rather than biological reality. It has come to my attention that USA Fencing is still permitting men to compete in women's fencing in violation of federal law, Cruz wrote. While USA Fencing does not receive federal funds, they are a national governing body, NGB, for the sport in the United States. According to the report, given that fact, the organization must comply with federal law, which includes President Donald Trump's executive order barring transgender identifying men from women's sports or risk losing NGB status, Cruz wrote. The letter states, to remain the fencing NGB, the organization must comply with the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee rules and procedures, its statutory obligations to protect women, and President Trump's recent executive order, EO, on keeping men out of women's sports. If it does not and instead continues to put women at risk, Congress may be forced to terminate USA Fencing's NGB certification. USA Fencing would not comment to Outkick about whether male fencers possess biological advantages over the female counterparts, but Cruz pointed out in his letter that male fencers naturally possess inherent advantages over potential female competitors. What does he do? He points out the obvious. So good to see Ted Cruz coming on, goes in a little bit more about the policy. We'll see where this goes. But that woman took the knee, and boy, that really raised quite a ruckus, which is what we're seeing more and more in sports, Rick. You and I have always talked about it, so great to see that happening. And Fran mentioned it earlier in the in the break there. We had, I guess it was Rumble, where we got I guess some kind of gift there, but about LeBron and his Ken doll. Barbie announces creation of LeBron James's own Ken Bassett doll. He's the first professional athlete to be recognized as a Barbie Ken doll. This is Dylan Gwynn at Breitbart.
Why would you want that?
He hung out with
that?
Too much baby oil at Diddy's house.
Really?
I have no idea, but in all likelihood, LeBron James will not be holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy at the end of this year. However, if it's any consolation, he can comfort himself by holding the Ken Bassett doll, the Barbie doll created in his likeness. Barbie has announced the creation of a new doll in the likeness of NBA star LeBron James, the first of Mattel's new Ken Bassett doll series. Well, maybe there'll be more dolls. As a young kid, I was fortunate to have role models who not only inspired me, but also showed me what's possible through hard work and dedication, James said. Now, as an adult, I understand how vital it is for young people to have positive figures to look up to. That's why partnering with Barbie to release the LeBron James Ken Bassett doll. Well, you might get a Ken Bassett doll, though. I could see a Delgado doll. You never know.
He could have went. He could have went anywhere. He could have said, "No, look, you know what? Hook me up with the people who make GI Joe. I'll do that." Because I want, I want to come off as a man, not as an appendage to a Barbie. Jeez.
Look, Rick, the doll also features gear from several of James's sponsors, such as Nike Dunk High Retro shoes and Beats headphones. The doll will be available in person or online April 14th. Guys, get online for $75 at select Target stores or online at Target, Amazon, Walmart, and other liberal stores. It is unknown whether the doll flops. Or flips, for that matter. And that's a wrap in sports. Big D, back to you.
Probably complains.
All right, Slick. Very good.
Well, yeah, you rebound from
the
that.
Masters is this week, right?
Yes, sir. We'll get to
Okay.
that.
We're going to make our Masters
And Frozen
picks.
4 tomorrow night, too.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir. We're going to get to that, too.
Okay, very good. 22 past the hour. We'll make our Masters selections. I guess we're just going to pick the winner, right? We got to pick
what are you going to try to put a handicap on a guy? Yeah, we're going to have to just pick the winner.
Didn't you pick 3 or 4 last year?
That's what I was wondering, if we picked like the top 3.
I'll get involved with that.
we did.
You pick 3.
I think we picked 3, yeah.
All right. By the
That's
end
what
of
we
the
should
show.
do again.
I would love that. Good.
Any one of them can win.
We got to do that tomorrow as soon as we,
No, we're going to do it tonight. It's Wednesday night. First round
last
tomorrow
segment
morning.
we'll do it. Last segment.
23 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some news, and here with the news is Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
Well, there's a bunch of different things happening that I want to point your attention to, one of which has to do with, of course, everybody's talking about tariffs. Here is Scott Jennings, one of your favorites, Damon, as
Scott Jennings.
as he responds to Bill Ackman's criticism of Trump's tariffs on CNN. It's cut number 4, Scott Jennings.
Bill Ackman's been hammering Trump on tariffs? He works at the White House.
I guess he had a different response, some criticism of it. Here's Scott Jennings.
I missed that.
Here's Scott Jennings, cut 4. Check it out.
Yeah, I like Bill Ackman, by the way, and think he's an important voice. But he's not the only voice. And, the president's getting a lot of advice from a lot of different people. But I tend to just listen to the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who was on television late this afternoon talking about now there's 70-plus countries that are calling up, wanting to discuss how we're going to deal with them in the future. And what I really hope that they wind up doing with those 70-plus countries, and it'll probably be more by tomorrow, is this. Listen, you need to understand, we're trying to do something different here. We think we've been taken advantage of, and we're responding to the working class of this country. If you will help us, if you will understand that we can have a fairer system here that's fair to the United States, we can align ourselves against the true enemy, which is China. And if you want to get in bed with China and think they're a trustworthy partner, that is a complete, ridiculous, stupid, terrible idea. Stick with us, be fair to us, and stick with us, and we'll align ourselves against China because they cannot be trusted.
Yeah, there he is talking about that.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Seems like what we're seeing, exactly.
Right. And then a second clip from Steve Eisman, who I played earlier. Here he is talking about, the tariffs and how countries are responding and why it could possibly benefit them. Here's cut number 6, Steve Eisman on the Trump tariffs.
If countries are rational, Canada and Mexico would come to the United States and basically beg. We'll do what you want. Because of the 35% that Mexico and Canada have of their GDP from exports, 25 points of that 35% is just exports to the United States. Those two countries hold no cards. Now, Europe is not much better. And so I think if everybody's rational, they'll lower their barriers. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's rational. There's politics. People might be, some of the politicians might be afraid if we give in, we're going to lose our jobs. Mm-hmm. That's the wild card. If reasonable heads prevail, Trump will get pretty much what he wants.
Yeah.
Bingo.
All right, 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. A little more news with Paul Nolan, sports with Slick, more Delgado. We'll wrap before we wrap tonight. Julie Kelly has a little piece out tonight on, guess who? Steve Jensen. Are we overreacting to this appointment at the FBI? I'll tell you what she thinks when we get back right after this.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Hey, Slick. Did you see North Dakota State visited the White House today? Better than Barbie.
Your face was priceless. I'm surprised they didn't do the. If you're gonna do stories like that, at least do Tariq Hill and his wife, beating each other up in public or something.
That happened.
Something like that. I pay no attention to these celebrities and their low life lifestyles. I just can't look at it. I really don't care at all.
Someone just said they're going to go make some breakfast for dinner.
Oh, that's
I
what I'm
love
talking
that.
about.
That's what I just had.
Breakfast is the best when you're not eating it for breakfast.
I'll tell you, I still love barbecue, good barbecue with waffles.
Chicken waffles.
I love it.
The chicken waffles place.
Tell me about the fried chicken. Is it so light and delicious? I love that.
The best one I had though was in Oakland. Dangerous part of Oakland, but I went.
Nice.
Because I had people that could bring me in. It was pretty wild, but it was awesome. People were there, just and Oakland, California.
Yeah. Were you living there then?
Yeah.
Because
you fit right in.
I have a funny Oakland story. Remember when the Giants and Niners were both 10-1 playing on Monday Night Football in Phil Simms and Montana's heyday? We went there.
How could I forget that?
Are you being sarcastic?
Yeah, I don't remember that. No.
Really? It was like the most watched NFL game at the time. Two 10-1 teams, Parcells versus what's his name? Walsh. It was just a big time game. LT, Joe Montana, and Ronnie Lott. It was the heyday.
Niners won, right?
Yeah. 10-6 in a bloodbath.
Tyreek Hill, he went to the 35th floor and tried to jump out of the window with his baby in his hands. That was the story.
Serious?
No, he didn't know, but he grabbed the baby from his wife and they bruised her chest and
Tariq
blah,
Hill.
blah, blah.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night. Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're in, everybody. Slick's going to do some more sports. Delgado's going to do some more news, along with Paul Nolan's news as well before we wrap it up on a Wednesday. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. But right now, please welcome back to the show the CEO of the Wellness Company. That's Peter Galuli. Peter, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's always great to have you back. Thanks for giving us a few moments tonight. And obviously, it's timely because tariffs are obviously big in the news. Obviously, with President Trump today putting a pause on most tariffs except for China. And when you think about the Trump tariffs on imported pharmaceuticals, they've raised some concerns by doing that on prescription drug prices. Do you see any impact that the tariffs are having on medication costs and maybe more importantly, any availability problems?
Yeah, it's scary, guys. I mean, much like the American automotive industry, the American pharmaceutical industry offshored long ago. And as much as we like to think that these things are made in America, they're not. Most of our drugs come from China and India. In fact, if you look at all the prescription drugs sold every year in the United States, over 90% of them are coming from those two countries. So yeah, it's a very big concern when Donald Trump says that we need to raise tariffs on pharmaceuticals because people rely on these things for their health every single day. So I'm very concerned that, prices could rise. And even if the tariff isn't enacted on pharmaceuticals, ultimately it's going to cause the production of these pharmaceuticals overseas to be a little bit constricted. Countries are going to hoard them. These companies are going to see an opportunity to preemptively raise prices, and that's going to restrict access to Americans who need it.
Well, speaking of all that, and I mean, you're the CEO and you're obviously in the business, and this lands right on your doorstep. So if you can, and I don't know if you want to, but I'm going to ask you anyways, can you talk about how this would affect even what you guys do, these tariffs? Are you guys ready for this? How do you approach this? Is this something you have to pass on to the consumer? How do you guys handle something like this?
Well, it wasn't pretty for my bank account, but we bought every pharmaceutical that we could that's in our medical emergency kits because we want to hold prices down as long as we can. It's going to come if Donald Trump's tariffs are enacted. And to be honest with you guys, I think it's probably about time that somebody sticks up for American production. And we really need to have the production of critical drugs here in our homeland to make sure that if there ever is a war or something, that we have access to these things. But nonetheless, until that day, I wanted to stockpile as many drugs as I could so our customers can buy medical emergency kits and be prepared for whatever cold, flu, or sickness comes down the pike.
Yeah. So semaglutides is obviously big in the news, and everybody obviously hears them, thinks Ozempic. But compounded semaglutides reportedly are being curtailed. Access to them, I guess, is being curtailed. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and maybe on them? And maybe is there any other affordable alternatives to Ozempic or these GLP-1s? Tell me about that.
Yeah, GLP-1s is a fascinating subject. And to be clear, there's a lot of news headlines about GLP-1s and side effects. That's a whole nother topic for a different conversation. But on the whole, let's face it, guys, Americans are fat. We're huge. And we need to lose weight. And GLP-1s can really help.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Peter, Damon resembles that remark.
I'm going to be wearing a sweatshirt that says GLP-1 on the back pretty soon if I don't cut off the...
He looks like a semi-glued tight.
Shut up, Delgado.
Semi-Trump.
1 in 6 Americans have been on semaglutide, guys, so probably one person on this call has started it at some point. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, semaglutides are a drug that many Americans take, millions, tens of millions take. And the FDA is now taking them off the shortage list, meaning that pharmacies can't compound their own semaglutide. So if you want semaglutide or tirzepatide, you need to go back to the brand name, the Ozempics, the Wegovy's that are made by Lilly and Novo Nordisk. And that's going to result in a significant price hike to Americans, again, hitting us in our wallet. And I think these drugs do a lot of good. They help people lose weight, and weight loss is associated with a long and healthy life. So I think there's a lot of good that can be done there.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend of mine who said he was at his doctor, or maybe it was his cardiologist recently, and the cardiologist actually said to him, hey, have you thought about doing it? And he was kind of taken aback that a cardiologist would actually be pushing this to them as something to work into their daily life. But like you said, they've really become part of the conversation. So many people seeing good results, but some people really abusing them too and going kind of over the edge with it. So let me ask you about New Year's resolutions. We're well past most of those probably being dumped, obviously, as summer approaches. Many Americans are obviously seeking safe weight loss methods. Can you introduce TWC's new product, Drop? Tell us about that and what the benefits are.
Yeah, we have a ton of customers asking about all these injectables. And honestly, they're not the best way to take these medicines. Taking a high-dose injectable to the abdomen once a week to lose weight, it's not a fun experience. You're prone to errors. It's unpleasant and painful. We created Drop, which is an alternative GLP-1 that you take orally. You just add it to your water in the morning. And we've had fantastic results. We've had so many people come to us and say in the first month they've lost 5-10 pounds without the nasty nausea and side effects that you historically experience with something like semaglutide. So we're thrilled to be offering this, and it's flying off the shelves.
Now, besides sending 10 bottles here immediately, is this something?
Listen, I'm at max fat. I think he should send me some, you some, and we'll have a fat off.
Yeah.
And we'll promote the company by being less fat a month from today.
Now, when people talk about GLP-1s, though, and Ozempic, they say, besides the side effects like you talked about, you've heard some things about vision and things like that. But the other thing is they say once you start, you really can't stop. Even though it's, I guess, acts as mostly a suppression to your appetite, you really can't get off of it unless you're, overly disciplined. So how does that, talk to me about Drop. Is it something that once you achieve a goal that you can easily come off of it if you're willing to exercise and kind of maintain that weight at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, lifestyle changes are paramount to losing weight, right? And that's where a lot of people fall short, is that they're able to lose the weight, but they can't keep it off because they're still reaching for the cake. They're not going to the gym. They're still doing the bad habits that made them fat in the first place. So we're doing a lot of things to help with that. We have a full supplementation program that you can follow alongside Drop. We give you weekly diet and exercise advice. And I will say right now, guys, I will personally sponsor a Studio 6B weight loss competition for you boys. So we can see here over the summer who can lose the most.
Let's do it.
All right. I got
Slick, you're out already because you're about 130 pounds soaking wet. So you take any drop, we weren't going to be able to find you.
And Delgado looks like a college wrestler. Keep this guy out.
Delgado's out. Yeah, Paul, it's me. You can't.
All right, game on, fatso.
All right, I like it. We've been speaking with Peter Gillooly. He's the CEO of the Wellness Company. You can go to twc.health/voice, twc.health/voice, and use promo code VOICE upon checkout. They've got great stuff. You know about the gold standard kits. Obviously, you heard about Drop tonight. If you're interested in any of it, go to twc.health/voice, twc.health/voice. Peter, always fun to have you on the show. You got a great sense of humor. Thanks a lot, and all the best.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, there you go. Peter Gillooly from the Wellness Company. He's the CEO, of course. He's the man. He's the decision maker, and so
he's a nice guy too.
Man, he was smart, right? Getting ahead of the tariffs. That's how you have to do it, especially in his industry.
Great question, by the way. Are there side effects when you come off? Because that's
what you hear about them. You hear like, I don't want to get too personal, but me and my wife were just talking about this. Someone we know who
the Ozempic stuff.
I saw her for the first time in a long time, and I had to keep looking at her, and I was thinking, what in the heck? What has changed? And then it took, once we were in private, I was like, what is going on? And she said, yeah, I think she's doing Ozempic, but it's like nonstop. It's just like her face looks like it's caving in.
Well, the one thing about Ozempic is it also destroys the muscle tissue first.
Yeah.
And muscle tissue burns fat at rest better than anything. So, to me, I can't believe people will take these kind of drugs to do it.
Well, I think it just some moderation. You got to know, like you said, you have to be able to get off of it. So I think that's why I asked them about Drop. If you can take it, achieve your goal, and then you can easily get off and then maintain yourself and keep that.
If you can wean off it,
that healthy look, then that's a big difference, at least from what I can tell so far. So
I've also
good stuff.
Yeah, I've also seen some psychiatric effects too.
On the GLP-1s?
Yeah, on the GLP-1s.
I believe it.
Depression, suicide, this extra anger that wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's like people don't realize that stuff.
Yeah.
They just jump on it thinking, "Oh, I'm going to look great for the summer." Well, you might be experiencing some other stuff too. Be careful.
Well, it's like all those commercials for anything.
Yeah, oh my God, all the disclaimers.
This has been found to do this. Now, some side effects.
forget it.
Here comes the list.
Right, 50 seconds of a 60-second commercial spent on side effects.
Right, some of the side effects are like the psychotropics is suicide and
sudden death.
Sudden death.
But don't worry, it's great.
The doctor, if your heart
the
stops.
side effect on Ozempic is possible weight gain. What? What do you?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Nausea,
if you feel
vomiting.
suicidal, contact a doctor.
Right. Doodle-ria.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some news here before we get to the final segment tonight, which we'll do sports with Slick and news with Delgado. Paul Nolan's here. What else is going on in the news that you caught today?
Well, the Hollywood Reporter is saying that the U.S. film industry has so far escaped direct retaliation from countries hit by the tariffs, as we know, thanks to the theatrical releases and streaming platforms being categorized as services rather than physical goods. But Hollywood's luck in China, the second largest film market, could soon run out. Trade relations have obviously been Washington and Beijing are spiraling, and the two countries are going head to head. And there are reports that China is talking about reducing the distribution of U.S. films in their country. So maybe we'll see, maybe we'll see this hit a different level, and possibly, really hurt Americans who have no idea what's going on politically. So that we'll see how that might have a slight impact. I thought this story was interesting from the Post. Teen whiz kid with a 4.0 GPA made $30 million off his startup last year, but he was still rejected by 15 colleges. The 18-year-old with a near-perfect GPA founded a business which made him $30 million in his first year. At least that's what Zach Yadagari's experience was when he was rejected by 15 out of 18 schools despite his 34 on his ACT and his 4.0 GPA. The 18-year-old business founder started a string of college rejections to X, and he posted up more than 27 million views. And he was shocked by his exemption from higher learning. So it's another example of how stupid the college system is today.
Yeah,
and good for this kid.
Total scam. You don't need a kid.
He's from Roslyn, New York. It's a public school. Obviously, Roslyn's a great neighborhood, but
beautiful.
Apparently, and his family. I wouldn't be surprised. You live in Roslyn. His family's probably worth $1 billion because it doesn't get richer than that, does it? So anyway, I thought it was a cool story. The kid gets rewarded for his brains and his whats, and good for him. And the colleges lose out on another good kid.
All right, we'll wrap it up for a Wednesday live from Studio 6B with some more sports from Slick, news from Delgado. We'll do it when we get back right here, Real America's Voice, and of course, 103.9 LI News Radio, Suffolk County, New York. We're back right after this.
Man, the audience is funny.
God bless you, Rick
Bless
Delgado.
you, Delgado.
God bless you, my son.
Bless you.
Palm Sunday coming up, Big D, this Sunday. You going to church this Sunday? No. Got Easter Sunday. Can't believe it's Easter already. Wow. And it's actually late this year. It's April 20th, which is nice. But last year was like March 31st, Easter. The nice one was a little bit later. But you go outside, it's so darn freezing.
Yes, we are doing Masters picks. Are you in on this, Aaron? Why?
Who's that?
So what does that matter? We're a bunch of idiots over here. What do you care?
Oh, Big D, Child of the King on fire. Child of the King, 20 live 6B memberships gifted.
Child
She's
of the
on
King.
fire, on top of the 47 she gave earlier.
So nice.
God bless her. Love her. Thank you.
We got a fat battle. Big D.
Super chats.
I already got a head start.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to beef up until the drugs come. I'm going to get myself to like 217, 218. I'm going to see if I...
217, 218.
Well, before you start, you're going to go crazy?
7th grade.
What?
Jesus. 217, 218. How tall are you?
Well, with
5'8"?
With
lifts?
F you. With a full moon and a high tide, I'm 5'10". I'm 5'9.5". And that's because of my collapsing spine.
Yours and everybody else's. Yeah, we all collapsed.
But I got up to 211 again.
Speaking of collapsing spines, where's Delgado? He's blowing his socks out.
So, now I'm down to 203 again. So I'm back. I'm 11 pounds before I feel okay, but 190 is my fighting weight.
You're like Joe Bugner weight.
190 is where it looks like I'm not wearing a face mask of my face.
Ba 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 ba.
What's going on with Ank?
All right, Masters time.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I have my picks.
We're doing it on air, or we doing
I have a.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we're on. All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night. Real America's Voice and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're in. Slick's doing sports. Delgado's doing news. Paul Nolan did some news. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Let's do some sports, and we'll start sports with a Masters.
Yes.
The Masters kicks off tomorrow. Best weekend of the year, in my estimation.
That's fantastic.
And let's make some picks here, boys. 3 selections.
Look at this.
Wow.
Par for the course.
Whoa. That's like really fancy.
Oh, look at that.
Look at Harry Oates driving a golf cart.
Hey.
Harry.
Wow, bravo.
Harry on the fairway.
I don't normally like surprises, but I love that one.
Harry says, I love that go-kart.
Oh, man. One more time. Let me see that one more time.
Wait a minute. Harry
Roll
Oates
it.
on the golf cart. Look at that. I like the little.
Oh, man, that is great.
I like when it cups. I like that.
All right, let's hear it. Aaron, is that you and Fran together? What is that?
Fran made that last year.
Yeah.
That is.
Oh, really?
I don't remember that.
When you save your projects, it's amazing you can use them again.
It's amazing.
The
I would
question
have
is,
had
how
that
do
thing in
you
the trash
find them?
the night the show was over. That's the way I clean up things.
I can't find my kids' social security numbers on my computer. How does he find that?
All right, here we go. Masters time. Aaron, I'll come to you. Are you and Fran picking as a team here? Are you picking for both of you, or are you each going to have separate picks?
Paul's going to pick for me.
Oh, you're not picking?
No.
Oh, okay.
I represent.
All right,
Aaron
Paul,
then.
you're representing the control room, Aaron and Fran, and yourself here in the Masters.
Wow.
All
It's a
right.
hole in one.
All right. Who is your first selection of your 3?
It's got to be the best player in the world. Scotty Scheffler is number 1 for me.
Okay.
That's a good pick.
Scotty Scheffler.
plus
Paul's pick
475.
number 1. Who's number 2?
I was thinking about DeChambeau. Obviously, he can bomb it away, and he's a Trump guy, but not enough finesse and touch around the greens for this one, so he's out for me.
Really?
And I'm going to go with John Rahm as my second pick.
Oh, okay. John Rahm.
Nothing wrong with him.
Very fine player.
And-
Also a live
and-
player.
Yep, best. Right, he dominated the live, did he not?
He's playing well. He always
guess.
plays well.
Number 3, Rory.
And who's your third?
I'm going to go with Russell Henley, the hottest player in the world right now.
Oh, Russell Henley. Okay.
I'm going to go with a little
good.
dark horse so I can bring something up the rear.
All right, very good. Delgado, are you partaking in the Masters selection?
Sure.
Okay, very good. Who's your first pick?
My first pick is going to be the Bryson DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau. Okay.
Yes. I think he's going to. I think he's got the line. Next, my second one would be, of course, if he doesn't get arrested, trying to get to the golf course, Scotty Scheffler.
Mm-hmm. Scotty Scheffler. Okay, very good.
And my third would be Morikawa.
Okay, very good.
Morikawa.
Yeah. So those
Which
are my
one of those do you favor to win?
Bryson.
Bryson. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Slickster, me and you. You want me to go? I'll go since you're the sports guy. You can go last. My first pick is also going to be Colin Morikawa, and he's actually my top. He would be my pick.
Me too.
It's not your turn.
I know.
Okay. I like him. Colin Morikawa would be my pick to win it. He would be my first pick if I was putting him in order.
This guy.
I'm going to stay away from Scheffler because you all picked him, not because he doesn't deserve to be picked, because obviously he does. And I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to do it because he's played well recently.
What are you going with?
I'm going with Tony Finau.
Oh, Tony Finau. I thought it was somebody else.
I'm going with Tony Finau as my second selection. And my third selection, I'm going to go with Rory McIlroy to finish the career Grand Slam.
I knew it.
I knew it.
That's what I'm going.
Remember how much you used to hate him?
That's my man. Slickster, your turn.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with, as I said, Colin Morikawa. I had him too as number one. I really do. He's 14-1. He's got a good shot, so I'm taking him. My number two pick is going to be Rory. I think Rory actually has a very good shot. And then I'm going to round it out with Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm is 15-1, so I do like him. I agree. Scheffler, I even though he is the favorite, plus 475 right now, Big D. I think I'm going to go with Rahm as my.
All right, I'm taking out Rory McIlroy. I'm taking him out of my pick.
Okay.
Since you're going to have him too. Okay. And I'm going to put in Ludwig Aberg.
Ooh.
I'm putting him in.
Isn't he a musician?
I have no idea who he is.
That's Ludwig van Beethoven.
Oh.
David went to school with him.
Yeah. So I'm going to put in I think it's pronounced Aberg. Ludwig Aberg, probably the sweetest swing in golf. I'm putting him in instead of McIlroy. Okay. Since you're picking McIlroy, you can have him.
I'll have Rory.
I like him, and I think he's going to play well, but.
It's going to be a great.
So those are my three.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so there you go.
All right, we'll be halfway through on Friday night. We'll know where we are, but like we always say, whoever's leading on Friday night usually isn't winning on Sunday. It's amazing.
Okay, well, we'll see if that holds true. What else? Anything else in sports you want to touch on?
Yeah, just one other story. North Dakota State University Bison football team in D.C. for meeting with Trump towards Capitol Hill. This is Ken Duffy of 93.3 WD Day. Ken Duffy. Here we go. Washington, D.C. The national champion North Dakota State University Bison football team is soaking it all during their visit to the nation's capital at the invitation of President Trump. The Bison, who won their 10th FCS championship in program history by beating Montana State in this year's title game, arrived early in D.C. to start a jam-packed day that ends with a White House meeting with Trump. Players and coaches took a short sightseeing tour, which included stops at the Lincoln Memorial and Arlington National Cemetery, great places. The team also took part in a ceremony on Capitol Hill, where North Dakota's congressional delegation was on hand to welcome and congratulate the squad. This season was extremely special. Quarterback Cam Miller said during a luncheon on the Hill, "We are very thankful for this opportunity." During the title game, NDSU jumped out to a 21-3 halftime lead, but despite Montana State's second-half comeback, the Bisons held off the Bobcats to claim a 35-32 victory. It's the school's 10th FCS national championship in program history. Along with the luncheon, the team had a chance to take a tour of Capitol building with lawmakers. It's been unbelievable, said quarterback Cole Payton. Just to put NDSU on the map is good for our brand and our community. The Bison also took a team photo on the steps of the Capitol Hill building during their tour to the White House. So good stuff there for the football program, and they get the chance to visit President Trump. So just wanted to get that in. That was nice for the sports team.
And here is the president with the team today.
Oh, great.
Let's see. Who are they pointing at? Greg. Big guy. Is he that good?
President Trump, he's unbelievable.
Well, that kid's a building.
He's a building.
And people don't, let me see, let's try it. Can I get through it?
I mean,
there you go.
He's such a He's such a sports fan, and that's what I love about him.
He's like Oscar Madison, man.
He's brought sports back, He really has. And that's a wrap, Big D. Love it.
Man, that kid, those big kids.
Yeah, he's good.
He made Trump look tiny.
Yeah,
I
Trump
think
is
that
the
Cowboys
are
going
to
draft him as my next guard.
Man, oh, man. All right, very good. Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell, LFS 6B. Delgado, anything else you want to touch on?
I did, but do you have time to get to that Julie Kelly thing that you mentioned?
So Julie Kelly says we're all overreacting. She says, I spent some time this weekend reading transcripts related to Steve Jensen, the head of the new FBI Washington field office. Those of you making knee-jerk reactions or solely citing one person's hearsay account of what Jensen said about being terrorists for the J6ers need to maybe take a step back. I hesitate to bring some clarity to Jensen's record and reasons why Cash and Dan may have moved him into the WFO, because I will be accused of defending a J6 Stasi trooper or whatever, but I don't care. If people are going to be ignorant and sabotaging what could be a very useful operation to get answers and accountability that we need, so be it. Like most things, it's more complicated than everybody thinks. I'll share this, and you can go through the rest of it, because she goes through quite a bit of stuff. She's got some documentation here. Again, you can make your own determination on this point. So, as always, we salute our military, active and inactive, police, firefighters, first responders, all emergency personnel. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron, Frank, great job as always. Most of all, thank you. Live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. back here, live from Studio 6B.